You quite literally said to me one day when I was trying to do something, I was struggling with it, and you said to me, Adam, it's just shapes. Does that make sense to you? Is that something that you?
I remember talking to you about that.
What now? What do you? Could you break down what you mean by that? Like, because like you look at things and you just say, okay, this is a circle, this is a square. I mean, how do you?
Well, it's that people, when they draw, they rarely draw what they actually see. They draw what they think they're seeing,
Right.
which is sort of like your mind is. The mind is so fascinating, and we're not even close to tapping the understanding of how it works. But from my experience with drawing and other kinds of perceptive art forms, like when you're listening or when you're viewing or whatever, you almost take for granted some of the details that are really there. And I find that in drawing, it's 90% observation and 10% recording that observation. In other words, most people who say they can't draw, it's not they can't draw, they can't observe. If they could observe more and see it, like actually see it and just look at it, they could do that, because I think it's the matter of, I'll give you an example. People say they can't draw noses most of the time. I hear hands, I hear noses. So everybody could kind of draw an eye because they kind of know what an eye looks like, or they think they do. So when they look at their subject, if I'm looking at you right now, I see you through the Zoom screen. Mm-hmm. I'm like, okay, he has 2 eyes, a nose, a mouth, a beard, got it, right? That's how most people's minds work. Then they put their head down and draw not what they see, not your eyes, not your nose, not your mouth, not your beard. They draw in their mind, they pull from a catalog in their mind, okay, an eye looks like this. So they immediately disassociate with the thing they're looking at. So they make an almond shape, they make a circle. They don't even look back to check. And they just make the eye, then a nose. Okay, a nose is a line. And rather than doing that, I encourage, there's a drill you do where you look at the thing and you do an automatic drawing. You take a pen and trace in your mind. So I look at you, I take a pen and I put it on paper. And instead of looking down to check that the nose is right, I trace it in my mind. I trace it with my eyes. And I look at where the lines of your nose go. And I look at and I don't think it's a nose. I just think it's a line. And the line goes this way, and the line goes that way. And then there's a nostril here and I don't even have to call it a nostril, but there's a shape here, there's a shape there. And when you look at it, the paper looks ridiculous, but it's not for the paper. It's not for the drawing. You throw that away. It's for the practice of your eyes seeing things, the relationship between the side of your nose and the side of your face. How far is that? Is it as far as that? And I think it's really what it is. And it's like having a conversation, Adam. A lot of people don't listen.
Right.
They kind of go, right, yeah. But they're not listening to the content. They think they understand the end of the sentence before it gets there. So they fill it in their head and they're ready to talk. Mm-hmm. That's the same thing that people do wrong with drawing. Like they're not finishing the drawing in their mind. They're not looking at what they're seeing. They're taking an observation and then they twist it in their mind and they're drawing what they twisted. So it's sort of an abstract way to say it. But another thing, when you look at a map and there are just shapes in a map, and everybody kind of knows what North America looks like and Europe and Africa and South America. But if you just draw shapes on a face like it's a map and forget it's a face, so like there's a blob of dark here. I'm not going to say what it is, that it's the shadow under your eye. It's just a blob of dark. It's the shape of,
right.
Whatever, Australia, it's like a blob of dark. And this is a blob of light. And this is and once it comes together, it becomes a photorealistic face. But you don't have to really look at it and say, I'm going to nail this nose. You just have to look at it and say, what are the shapes that make this image?